Okay, well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to another discussion with Lens Lounge. And this evening, we're pleased to have Alison Johansson with us. Hi, Alison, and she's also on Instagram known as not.flicker. So I'd just like to bring Alison in, just say welcome to their podcast this evening.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you. No, it's great. I'm really thrilled that you've invited me to take part in your video cast podcast, Lens Lounge. Yeah, really looking forward to our chat.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
Yeah, us as well.
Right, so I'll start with the first question. So what or when got you into photography?
Oh gosh. I find that quite a difficult question to answer. I mean, I'm not particularly young, but I have always had a camera. It's never really been like a luxury item. I think I had my first kind of not disposable, but like one of those reusable 35mm film cameras when I was about 8 years old, and I remember taking that on holiday and playing around with it, and took pictures. I didn't take a lot of pictures when I was young. I think when I got to kind of my late teenage years, kind of A levels and definitely university, I took hundreds and hundreds of pictures, but they were just of friends. I really liked kind of just documenting stuff that was going on. It's quite a kick to get them out now and have a look, and everyone looks so young and beautiful. And then after that, just after I graduated, one of my friends said, well, she'd just finished her fine art degree, and she was a bit broke, and she said, "Oh, would you mind would you buy my camera equipment just for some quick funds?" And I said, "Yeah, okay, yeah, I'll buy it." And then that was a proper SLR. I can't remember what make or anything like that now, but it was lenses and filters and the actual SLR as well. I think a tripod too. And after I got that, I thought, well, I guess I ought to learn how to use it really. So I did a course at just an evening class thing at London College of Printing, and that was, I can't even, I think it was just photography basics, because this was before digital photography was really kind of accessible to everybody. And that was great, learning all about apertures and f-stops and speed and how to get various kind of effects and lots of assignments and things. And then I loved that camera, and I just played around with it. I think we might, I don't know, maybe I think I sent you one of the pictures that I used to really enjoy just in when I lived in London. Didn't really have all that much money, quite a bit of time. So, but I did have a travel card. So going out with my camera and just taking pictures of stuff around London was just lots of fun. And particularly because it was on film, we don't get what we get used to now about instant gratification. It's like you finish the film and then you sent it off to Boots or Snappy Snaps or wherever, and then wait for it to come back. And then there's that kind of moment where you've kind of forgot what pictures you'd taken, and then when you get them, you get all that kind of thrill again of going, oh yeah, I remember that. Oh, and then when it came out really well, or how you hoped it would. And then the other thing I kind of enjoyed is just like I said, just living in a house share in London. That's how I used to sometimes just fill my evenings, is take pictures of stuff. I've always liked kind of really close up, detailed pictures. I wouldn't call myself a macro photographer, but that kind of stuff. And yeah, I had a black velvet kind of shirt and a spotlight and some glass objects and things. I just used to take pictures. I think I took pictures of my I've had quite a lot of teeth removed. I've got a lot of teeth for my head, and but I kept them all because, again, I'm from the generation where they let you keep the bits of your body that they took out, and took pictures of that. And yeah, that went on until I can't really remember when that fell away. I remember I took that camera with my friend, actually, who sold it to me, to a holiday in the south of America. So kind of New Orleans was the area that broke it. So all the moisture and humidity in the air rotted the back of the camera. And when I got the films back, they were all covered in light leaks. And the guy said, "Yeah, camera's broken." And that was just when digital started, but I didn't get a digital camera for a while. And I think when I did, it was, oh, actually, no, I've still got it in my drawer because I keep meaning to give it to my nephew. It's got like something like this big sticker saying 2 megapixels. It's like, and I use that again, but mainly from then on, it was just holiday snaps. By then I was working. It was nice to take pictures and then show them to people at work, and they went, oh, they're nice. And it didn't really progress much beyond that until more recently. So at lockdown, I was camera free again. The camera that I had I'd managed to break it. I think I dropped it one too many times, and then we weren't allowed out. And I thought, well, there's not really much point buying another one because I'm not going anywhere. And it was only, I think it was almost this time last year, I bought myself a new SLR camera, a digital one this time. And then I got involved with the Street Level Photo Works community project, and then I'm here. So in the last kind of 6 months, a year, things have just taken off really quickly.
Okay, that's nice. Well, thanks for giving us that background. So just moving on now, Alison, what genres of photography do you really like, and what do you most enjoy, and what's the reasons that you maybe enjoy it?
Well, again, I still don't know really what genres. I'd say I know which ones I've fallen into and which ones are most accessible to me. So yeah, I live in a city. I don't have a car. I don't have a studio or anything like that. So I do a lot of street photography, I suppose, taking pictures of just things that are around, and then that kind of spills into maybe pictures of buildings. I particularly like abandoned buildings, but then, you know, who doesn't like a picture of an abandoned building?
Yeah.
And I'd like to get more into kind of portraits of people. I've been trying to do that a bit more, get a bit braver about asking people if they'd actually, you know, sit for a photo. But I mentioned that Street Level Photo Works community project. So that was last March, and that was good. They kind of sent us off with tasks to do, and one of them was, you know, get brave and start asking people if you can take pictures of them.
Okay.
And the idea of that was, it was called Gorbals Then and Now, and it was to document as a resident of Gorbals and other people in the area. The idea was to kind of update the image of what the Gorbals is like now. I think there's quite a still, even when I moved here, people were like, oh gosh, the deprivation, the poverty, how can you move there? It's not like that at all. It's not an Oscar Marzaroli photo anymore. And the idea was to update that. And that's, yeah, so I think I've also got some pictures that we might talk about from that project. I think that was probably my first picture where I asked a stranger if I could take a picture of them, and they said yes. So like I said, the Gorbals, the project was Gorbals Then and Now. And what I liked about this one was it's a coffee shop, the only coffee shop we've got actually in G5. And as you can see at the back there, they've got on all the old black and white pictures of Gorbals. I don't know if there's any. There are probably a few Oscar Marzaroli ones in there. Stephen Burkov, I think, is probably in there as well, and some newspaper clippings. And to me, that was the then. And then you've got these two chaps in front having a coffee together, the little coffee sachets, and I think one of them's got like a croissant or something, I don't know. And, you know, it's kind of comfy, stylish chairs, and they're just sitting there having a chat together. And yeah, so that was where I thought, oh, I'd like to try and capture that in some way. So these guys, I said, can I take a picture of you? And they just went, yeah, what do you want us to do? I said, yeah, just sit there if you like, don't have to do anything. But what I also liked about this one as well is that there isn't a Stephen Burkhoff picture. So he did some work at Citizens Theatre down the road. I think it was in the 60s, and also took a whole bunch of photos, one of which is in a pub. And it's at the time when all the pubs were kind of, you could sit in a little booth by yourself. So you don't even look at anyone. You're just sitting there, I think, looking at the bar, and he's got this picture, and you can see all the tables, and each of them's got half drunk pint and a guy in a flat cap. No one's looking at each other. No one's talking to each other. They're just, you know, they're sitting there to have a drink of alcohol in the pub in the daytime. And I thought that's definitely the then, whereas this is the now, and these chaps just coming in, having a nice, you know, kind of friends Central Perk coffee break together. Yeah, so that's where that one came from.
So
And
do
that ended up on the in the display as well. So at the end of the project for Gorbals Fair in June last year, they took 5 pictures from everybody, put them in massive vinyl, and we each had a window pane at the library each.
Okay.
I think it was a couple of years ago now. Just took it with my iPhone, pottering about. Yes, it would have been before I bought my, doing everything just with my iPhone at that time. But this was at the Andreas Gursky exhibition, which I wanted to see. And he was one of the first photographers that I really, first photographer name I kind of remembered, or thought I want to remember that and keep an eye out for other exhibitions. Like I was saying, I like the detail in pictures, but his pictures are full of detail and full of people and lots of stories in one, but they're absolutely massive. And to see them in real life, I've seen a couple of them in kind of collective exhibitions when I was a teenager, but this was the first time I'd kind of seen just his work. And yeah, just love it. It's got one, it looks a bit like a Peanuts picture, so it's like people sledging and snowball, just pottering about in the snow. But yes, but it was must have been a weekday, I think, because I tend to go down to London not at the weekend when it's a bit cheaper to travel. And yeah, just stepped out at the end of the exhibition and looked down all this polished concrete and all these strip lights. And yeah, I'm also a big fan of symmetry and lines and perspective. And if you can throw a couple of people in there to give it, to give it perspective as well, that's really great. And this one ended up, so last year, after the kind of successes that I had with the display on the library through the street level photo works project, I started thinking, well, maybe I could see if I could get some other work displayed and have other, just put it in the public domain, which I'd not really done before. And so there's in Glasgow, there's the Glasgow Gallery of Photography, and they've very frequently got open calls, and one came up for light and shadow, and I put this one in and it got accepted, and that went on. So that was in their light and shadow exhibition that ran, I think, December last year. And then before that, I'd had 3 other pictures accepted by the Glasgow Gallery of Photography as well. So that was all a big confidence boost of, wow, somebody actually likes it. And this is also, like I said, I took it with my iPhone. It's not been digitally touched up, or I might have straightened it because I can't seem to take a straight photo for my life. But I didn't do anything to it. It's just pretty much what my phone captured. But that's when I started to think, well, maybe if I started to learn about, Lightroom or any kind of digital editing, maybe I could make my pictures even better or worse, depending on your opinion of editing. But yeah, so this picture opened a few doors for me.
Good.
I love this. I love the way that it goes in, the symmetry. You've really captured the whole structure of the building. It's really stunning, and it's true. It's symmetrical practically. But I do.
It's almost, and I just like the way it's like a tunnel pulling you in with the reflections of the light above and everything, and it's just lovely. It's like going down into a tunnel of of something, So
And this
It's a
actually
lovely building.
Yes. And this actually proves that you don't need a top of range camera to get an amazing picture.
Yeah.
It's all because of your eye and the way you've captured the composition that's made this picture amazing.
Thank you. Yeah, it wasn't even a very good iPhone. I went for an SE because I could hold it.
I think what's also good as well, because in photography, odd numbers always make a good balance, and with the 2 people at the end and the one maybe 2/3 of the way down, it adds a bit of depth to the image as well. So that's what I think when I see it. But yeah, I love it. I love the reflection of that. I don't know if it's an alcove of a door on the right, but it's just I think it's wonderful.
Yeah, this they have the doors. You can see there's a dark one on the left and a light one on the right. That's the kind of the flow through of the gallery, and I think they are lit with natural light. I can't remember, but yeah, that makes for really nice lighting and reflection, isn't it? And yeah, so the background of the picture really was, so I was doing this 24-hour project. It was like this 24-hour challenge that was online, and it was to support 24hourproject.org is the organisation, and in this instance, it was to support cameras for girls. That was it. So it's girls in I don't want to say third world countries, but just elsewhere that maybe don't have easy access to cameras, maybe not even a camera phone. So it was to raise awareness for that and things. But the idea is that for 24 hours, you took one picture every hour and posted it on Instagram with a hashtag. And the idea of it was really to kind of that people all around the world were documenting what they were doing that day, and it would build a kind of 24 hours in the world kind of view. I felt my day was really boring because I spent 4 hours in class, about an hour at this coffee shop, and then I took a picture of some people. I thought just doing some work on the park rails on the way home, but got into a bit of a sticky situation because it turned out that they were doing community service, and they got really upset that I'd taken a picture, and then had this whole argument about, I could take pictures in public, and they were like, but you can't take pictures without my consent. And I thought that's rich coming from people who are doing community service, But anyway, that's another story. It says there you've got 10 minutes. Is that right?
Yeah, but we can start again because you just press the link again.
Okay, so I'll make sure I kind of finish up my chat in time for that then. So this back into the coffee shop with this guy again, with the whole consent thing, which I don't know if that's something that you've talked about with others. I still struggle with it a little bit. My photography teacher, she's very big on not taking what she calls sneaky photographs. So the back of people's heads, or people who, in compromised positions, they don't realize you're taking a picture of them, particularly if you're going to post them online, I guess. She had a really real thing about you don't take pictures of just random homeless people. If you don't know, she said, if you don't know someone's name or you haven't asked them their name, don't take a picture of them. So I said to this guy, I really like your dog. She's so cute. Is it all right if I take a picture, please? And he turned around and he said, oh, yeah, that's no problem. He said, oh, she's really needy. She loves attention. She'll probably really love the attention. And then he turned back and started scrolling through his phone. And I just thought, oh, this poor dog. And the look on her face, she's like, please talk to me. I mean, we've gone out for walkies and I'm just watching you sit down looking at your telephone. And I think, you see that a lot around of pets, kids, just people. Yeah, I've seen
even
teenagers.
In restaurants.
Yeah, I've seen people in restaurants sitting together having dinner, looking at their phones. It's like, put it down. So anyway, so I thought, oh, that's quite sweet. And then the other thing I like about this picture is where I started to get a bit braver with Lightroom. So the background, I've tried to make a little less intrusive. So I felt with the original, the cars at the back were really shiny and had very hard edges, and they were kind of deflecting a little bit. So I'm quite pleased I managed to kind of smooth those out a bit. And then also bringing out the dog really and making her the focus. I think it's quite easy to look at this and just think the back of the guy is the focus of the picture, by trying to bring out kind of the textures and and also the eyes of the dog, that you can actually see she's got eyes and where she's looking. That makes it a little bit more a bit more zingy. But no, I'm really pleased with that one.
It's lovely.
I didn't kill the dog either. Like, my teacher's all very anti. If she says you can take a picture of an animal, make sure you got the whole animal.
What I like about it, the way that he's got the leg of the chair over the lead, as if it wants to get away and he's not letting it go. It's given that sort of thought as well to the picture,
Yeah. She just wants a pet.
Yeah, she looks like she's giving him loving eye to say, please give me attention. Don't ignore me. Don't ignore me.
Yeah, this is really interesting.
I love that.
So really, when I'm looking at this, so this was shot in film, okay?
Yes.
So how did you manage to get a double exposure like this?
So I'd say around the summertime, when I started getting stuff accepted into open calls. I started thinking, oh, I'm really enjoying this, and there's so much more to try. And then I remembered my film camera from days of old. Actually, that's a bit of a lie. I already had bought an OM10. So somebody in the camera club group, this community project, had an OM10, an OM1, I think, that she said that she inherited from her grandma. And just holding it in my hands, and I thought, oh, I remember this feeling, and oh, that's nice. And so I bought an OM10 and had some fun with that. And then I was walking around. There's quite a few, even in charity shops these days and flea markets and stuff, you can pick up these. I mean, I guess they're kind of what they Bakelite. They're really just plastic pinhole cameras, really.
Yeah.
And this was one that I think I bought for a £5 in a charity shop or vintage shop or something. Yeah, I think maybe that could be why film is making, like vinyl's making a comeback, apparently.
Well, no, it's not making a comeback. It's always been there. I've got Rake's album there, even when I was a young boy, So,
yeah. But I'm sure there are people that say the same thing about film. It's like film's not making a comeback. It's always been there. I've always used it. Yeah, I do. There's also the longevity of digital. Like I said, I've just managed to wipe out an entire day's work by accident. I can't get it back. It's not like I go in the bin and dust it off, rinse it in the sink.
It's funny, I heard a story today on a podcast. There's a guy called Paul Sanders that's a well-known photographer, and he was being interviewed by Kim Grant, and he was saying a story that he was in a local Tesco, and he was just sitting having a coffee and had his hard drive, and a woman walking out had a bagel sticking out her bag, and she caught his hard drive and it fell and smashed on the ground.
Oh no.
And but then the woman, and she says, "Oh, that's all my files," and she's like, she was more bothered about her bagel being snapped.
Oh no.
But what he said, he said it was lucky I took it to somebody, and they said, "Oh well, we'll try and get whatever." He says, "All I want is just get photos of my son," and he was able to recover those. But he said, "You know what? It's only digital images. I'll get more tomorrow." Kind of thing. So
that's the other thing. When you're asked to like name images, like I've been saying about these open calls, like what's the title of your image? And I'm like, IMG 258. I don't know, what is it? And trying to come up with titles of it. I've started to think, should I just another image? I mean, it's just, I know it might really like anger some people that are watching this podcast or this video cast, but it's just for pictures. It's just photography.
Yeah.
When I was doing my darkroom course, I don't know if we might talk about that a bit later, but so many times I said to my teacher, it doesn't really matter. I'm not making art. I just want to learn how to print a photograph. It's not, it's not life ending. I think, but I do. It's probably me that gets the most enjoyment out of my pictures than anyone else. So.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both, though, isn't it? Because I mean, I think that's a big thing. We are artists in our own right, no matter which way you look at it, because we're actually creating something. And and I know, like most of us, when I first started putting in social media, I was a bit kind of thinking, oh, what if people don't like it? But I thought, well, actually, does it matter? If people don't like it, I like it. So what difference does it make? And it's actually continued. And to me, that's the same as just what you said. We are all artists in our own way, because we're creating something, and it's all about, do you like it? Yeah, I like it, so clearly, and it's interesting to hear you've done the darkroom stuff and all that, but because I used to do a lot of film photography when I had a camera, I don't have it anymore now, but I loved it because it's like you said earlier, it's that digital makes it easy in a way that you can see it right away. But if you've got like a film, I remember years ago, my mum and dad, when we used to go on holidays, and we used to get this film, and it was almost like another holiday, getting the film back and putting it in a folder and looking at it and thinking, oh, look at this, look at that, and all this, or the ones that were overexposed or underexposed, and all these other things that go on. But that's all part of the nuances, of film photography.
Do you remember when Boots used to do an annual exhibition of films that had never been picked up?
Oh, that's right. Yes, I forgot about that.
And it's those kind of things you think, oh yeah. I mean, I don't know why anyone or how someone could put a film in and just never pick it up.
Well, it depends what was on it.
Yeah, I guess so. But I was just, like you say, the thrill of getting it back or going, oh, I can't wait to get the film back.
Yeah.
And particularly, like you say, when you come back from holiday, you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. And oh, that seems like a lifetime ago.
Well,
And
it
the
was,
thing, like
wasn't
you
it?
say, you can't instantly review film. You do have to
No.
wait.
Yes.
I think that's
But
probably part of the excitement of seeing it
yeah,
come through when you're developing it as well.
yeah. But
Yeah.
Lily May did that as well. I mean, none of her photos, they found her photos and films. And when they opened up, they realized she was one of the best street photographers that ever came around in history.
Mm-hmm.
I've
But
seen
none
a
of her,
documentary about her, but I don't know too much. So I know that she had a whole bunch of films in the attic.
yeah,
Was
she
it that they'd never been developed, so she'd never seen them?
some of them never were developed until they've started to develop them.
Amazing, eh?
Wow. But
Yeah.
it just shows, the joys in the taking of them. It's not
Well,
necessarily in the.
But
well,
that's what
that's
she
I think maybe.
was. That's exactly what she did. She just took them for the
well,
joy.
that's
And I wonder sometimes if things like, not so much Flickr, because it doesn't seem like anyone uses Flickr really. I shouldn't say that, but Instagram definitely has got that kind of. I've seen some people just post things about, oh, I don't get any likes and nobody sees my work, and what's the point if nobody's going to like it? I'm like, well, what's the point of putting photographs on a social media if no one likes them? That's quite a fundamental question to ask yourself, really. I mean, if you don't get a lot, I don't comparatively, I don't think I get many likes. It's always nice, but I think that's another reason why I'm trying to take a break. Maybe I think social media can sometimes overwhelm the joy of taking pictures.
I know it's. I mean, obviously, what else you've got in genre. Is there anything else you want to get involved in, or what other areas of photography you'd like to be, maybe moving in towards, or?
Well, my kind of dalliances with night classes. So I did the darkroom workshop at City College and the advanced photography class at Clyde College, and that's really got me thinking about. I just like to learn more. I think most of the stuff that I've done by now, that picture on screen is a good example. It's just, oh, give it a go and see what happens. I'd like to become a little bit more directed and get a bit more guidance, and I've been looking at courses where you get a bit more kind of how to deconstruct an image and how to kind of, talk about your intent. I met another photographer, a lovely guy called Sam Mitchell, after his exhibition at the Alchemy Experiment. And one of the questions he asked me was, what does this picture of my own? Why did you take this picture? And I was just, because it's nice. And I'd just like to be a bit more articulate than that. And actually be able to explain and maybe, I'd like to get into projects more, do research and create series rather than just one-off nice pictures.
Okay.
Nothing wrong with it, but I feel like I just want to get a bit more out of it, I think, for myself. So yeah, so I can't remember your question now, Brian. But
No,
that
just
was
about any other. No, not at all. But I mean, is there any other, like, I don't know. I mean, you street portraits or
I don't know. I
or,
think really by expanding kind of my knowledge set and my experience. So I think particularly when somebody else sets you a project to do, you're not just taking things that you know how to do and you like, that there's if someone's saying you need to produce a series of 6 to 8 pictures and they need to do this or be done like this or include this or meet this brief,
yeah.
having constraints can actually make you a bit more creative. And I think through that's, I think, probably how I'm going to maybe find what it is that I do want to do. Like a few people have said to me, but what is it that you want to do with your photography? Like, I don't really know. I'm not going to be famous. I don't know. Yeah, at the moment I'm definitely really still at the start of my I don't know. I don't want to say it's not professional photography, but getting beyond showing it to just friends and colleagues after I come back from holidays. It's just trying to work out what is it that I really want to get out of it.
Okay.
It's difficult, isn't it, when you're starting there? And it's trying to find your path, isn't it, really? Like anything. I mean, I was thinking this year that I'm going to there's a guy called Street Snapper Brian, I'm going to go on one of his documentary courses, sort of thing, for, you know, a weekend, just to learn about documentary photography, because it's something I've always fancied doing.
Mm.
It's a
I
little
think
bit.
I mentioned in the prep about this Stanley Kubrick video. I can't remember who it's by now. I think it's this guy called Cinema Tyler. But he's done a short video on YouTube about Stanley Kubrick's kind of photography career before he became a film director, and how he got sent out doing photography essays. Really, I guess we'd call that now projects or series, but just
Yeah.
that exactly is, you know, how a proper kind of to document something, like you were saying, rather than just wander around with your camera and seeing what happens, but actually going out with a bit of intent and a bit of research, a bit of knowledge. I mean, yeah, the research side of things. I did a project. I had to do a project for the end of the advanced photography course that I did at Clyde. It's not actually exhibited yet because they're going to do it at the end of the academic year, which I think is June. We had to produce a series of 6 to 8 photographs that was a series, and I had these kind of grand ideas about. I'd seen this YouTube video and I was like, yeah, I'll do a photography essay on this, and it just sprawled away from me. The scope just got out of control, and now it's like what I've produced is a microcosm of this project that I would love to continue to do, and it's great to have that kind of aspiration, but I'm also aware that I really need to do a bit more structuring of what it is that I want to achieve, how I'm going to do it. Like just turning up one day with a camera is maybe needs to have a bit more thought to it than that. But what I did enjoy about that process is the person that I wanted to do the interview with, sorry, the photo essay about. I spent about an hour and a half just talking with her, no camera, and just me and her and an audio recorder, just to learn about her business and how she got there, and from that I got lots of ideas then about what I wanted to take pictures of and included this essay. But then that's where it got a little bit too big because I had like 3 weeks to do it and a maximum of 8 pictures, and like, oh, but yes, that's the kind of stuff I think I'd like to get more into. When you asked about genres before, I don't think I'm going to suddenly find my niche, or I don't think landscape photography is going to set my world on fire. But that's probably because I'm not really a country person.
Okay.
You know, I'm very much kind of an urban city person. But and then yeah, what other genres are there? I mean, what genres would you say that you two specialize in?
I do street photography, but I want to move more towards documentary now. I think because with what's going on historically right now in the climate, it's a very interesting time to live in, and I think there's a lot to take pictures of. It's just being in the, you know, the right places and locations to be able to take those pictures.
Yeah, knowing what you want to do. I was speaking to a lady before, a lady called Samantha Vorton, I think. Susan Vorton, who's currently studying at Falmouth University. And she's kind of specialized in, she's had a career as being like an estate agent type photographer, takes pictures of interiors, makes them look good, interior photographer. And then part of this course has set her on a trip to where she grew up when she was a child, which is outside the UK, which became, like you say, so different from when she grew up, and matching together kind of her memories of what was before and now. And like you're saying, Gladys, I think now even when I look back at some of my holiday pictures, and it's not like that anymore, the places that I've been to, they've changed so much, whether that's politically or, you know, economically, or even just because of the effects of climate change and things like that. I think you're right in that this is a good time to document the changes that are going on.
It is. It definitely is, because so much is going on at the moment. That's the thing. A lot.
I mean, I'm a nature photographer, Alison, and I see woodlands getting destroyed, and things getting that it's not good, is it? But but people have got to stay in houses, but it's how the they've got to do some way, I think, to regenerate it some way that we can at least. And I know that there's something happening fairly local to me, which I'm going to be going to later on this. I think it's this week or next week. I can't remember, but I was actually quite surprised when somebody was talking about actually trying to plant, or make a forest or make woodlands and all the rest of it. But but things are happening all the time, and that's what I love about nature photography, because you can actually see things happening. Especially if you revisit things in places after a period of time. That's what I enjoy about it. I can't dabble in all. I wouldn't just say I'm a nature photographer, because I've done all sorts of stuff. Because I've said here before on this podcast thing, I'm in the school of photography, and we get set assignments every month, and my current one's reflections, for example. Now, reflections can be in any genre or type of photography. We've seen, in fact, there's some in the image here. You've got some in the previous one. So, and that's what I like about it. It pushes you out, and I've done some street portraits, and I think when you get these things, it was out my comfort zone at first, and I thought, oh, how am I going to approach this going to Edinburgh? But but thankfully, on the day that you set it, it was actually where I live in Pennycook in Midlothian. There was the Pennycook Late Summer Fair, it was called, and because it's my own little, we even say a town or a village, but could I stay? I just felt more within myself to do it, and then it was just, I seen somebody at a bus stop, but I bottled it because there was two young girls there, and I thought, what will they think? I thought about, but then walking down the street, I saw a guy sitting in a doorway, smoking a cigarette. It was middle of the summer, late summer, sun shining in his face, all wrinkles, yellow stained fingers, all the works, but chatting away to him at distance because at his front door, and we spoke for ages, but it ended up he used to be a wedding photographer, had his own, but you spoke about his dark room and processing, and he said, thanks, son, for spending time talking to me. I really enjoyed this today. And with that, but it just gave me so much confidence to go out and just be able to then, approach people.
And then that's where you take his portrait.
Yeah.
And he said, great talking to you. And you go, would you mind just, there you go. Yeah. Somebody else said to me as well, I've been speaking to loads of photographers. I've been speaking to Donnie McLean as well, and he does a lot of street photography stuff, kind of what he's known for. But he was saying, he said, if you wear like a high-vis jacket, you look like you're doing it for your job, like you're supposed to be there. So nobody cares if you take a picture because they think it's you just doing your work. And he said, and another thing he said was, if somebody does look at you and maybe doesn't look too happy, so just maybe look like take a picture somewhere else. Just look like you've not really been taking a picture of them. I've done that before. It's like the fake selfie where you're taking a picture of someone but you're pretending you're taking a picture of yourself. But I mean, I'm getting braver as well in just what my photography teacher was saying about there's nothing wrong with talking to people. Yeah, you take the picture, and then if they do notice, just say, "Oh, hi, I'm a photographer. Would you like to take the picture I saw of you? I just took of you." And then, particularly with digital, you can just show them there and then, and we all know our stuff. Well, absolutely, we all know our stuff, and like who doesn't seeing a nice picture of themselves or someone that's taken a good snapshot of you, and like you said, it's a chance to speak to people. And I think more often than not, people do like the opportunity to have a chat. And also I think if you do take a picture of someone and acknowledge them, I don't really like this, what my teacher called sneaky photography, where you just take a picture and run. It's that if you're taking pictures of people and they're not aware of it, or they it's just that it's back to that kind of really tricky conversation about kind of consent. Like if someone sees you take a picture and you give them eyebrows and thumbs up, I think that's fine. Actually, have you heard of the Barbara Streisand effect? I quite like that. So Barbara Streisand, there was this guy doing drone photography or just drone videos, and he was documenting the erosion of the Californian coast as it all falls into the sea. And he inadvertently took pictures of Barbara Streisand's house because she lives on the coast above it on a cliff top. And she somehow found out about it, or someone said, "Oh, isn't that your house?" And made this all big stink about you can't take pictures of my house and you can't take videos of my house. And then because she'd made such a fuss, everybody's like, "Oh, Barbara Streisand's house is on the internet." So then they all started looking at it. Whereas if she just kept her mouth shut, no one would ever notice. So this was part of the series that I was talking about at the end of the advanced photography class that I was doing, I had to come up with up to 8 pictures that were part of a series. And Jenny, the lady in the den in there, that's her stall. It looks a lot different now. She's done a lot of work to it, but it's called Turnstile 13. It's right at the front of Barrows Market. And I got the Barrows attracts a lot of photographers or people taking pictures all the time, and particularly now they're doing a lot of like theme weekends. So you'll have like the Hong Kong market. They've got they had a gay pride weekend that was outside of actual pride weekend. They've had like Turkish weekends, and so you do get a lot of people taking pictures. She's got a very attractive, bright stall, so she was so used to people just saying, "Can I take a picture?" or not even asking. And so I said, "Oh, can I take a picture?" when I was there with my friend. And she said, "Yeah, do you want me to look like I'm working?" And she said, "I'll pick this up and look like I'm making something if you like." And that's when I thought, oh, I'll ask her if she wants to take part in my project and make a proper project out of it. So that's when I interviewed her. We arranged a time to chat and spent about an hour and a half in the pub. And then, I mean, she's just very open to having a picture taken. She's like, "Yeah, if you want to do that, that's fine." So I turned up with my tripod and I thought, yeah, I had my Kubrick-esque list of, you want your establishing shot, and you want this shot, and you want, the bit that takes the picture and the bit that says something new and all that kind of stuff. And it didn't really work out because there's not actually a lot of space between the stalls, and the other stall holders were getting really pissed off with me. Particularly the one that I'm standing in there, she was getting really angry. She's like, "You're stopping people buying stuff in my shop." I don't think I was, but she didn't like me being there. She didn't like me hanging around. So this was, I started just taking, I thought I'll just take a whole bunch of pictures really quickly and then I'll have to rethink and come back next weekend. And as I was doing that, this guy and his wife, I assume, this is a little old lady, they were just tottering through. And the part of my project was really to show that the Barrows isn't like dead men's clothes and stuff that fell off the back of a lorry. There's a lot more entrepreneurial stuff, like a lot of people like Jenny who've got their own business and are really helping to kind of really rejuvenate and make the Barrows a lot more inviting, a lot more exciting. And like I said, they've got these theme weekends and really kind of, again, it's about changing the image of,
perception.
Yeah, perceptions of the dodgy, frightening Barrows, as charming as it was. And if you do want to buy some dead men's clothes, you can still do that. And I'm sure you can find some stuff that fell off the back of a lorry if you want to. But there's a lot of people selling their own stuff that they make. And Jenny's one of those. And so, but this guy was kind of shuffling through with his wife, and it's the blue plastic bag I really liked as well. And like you said, to me, he was kind of a little bit of a throwback to the old days kind of perception of, you have to know what you're looking for. You have to know the people there to get a bargain. I mean, I'm totally projecting onto this poor chap, but he also has, a great face. And the look he was, as his wife, they were just walking down, and then she was like, "Oh, look at this," and she just got out of the way of the camera. And I guess he was thinking, "Oh God, not more shopping." But yeah, so what I was saying before, I didn't ask him his name. He knew I was taking a picture because I was quite in his face. It maybe looks like I was far away, but there's, like I said, there's not much space between the stalls. So he knew I was there. And as I mentioned before as well, I've also got a white camera, which is quite hard to miss. So I do feel that, I'm not really being that sneaky when I've got quite a bright camera. There's also some people say to me, "Oh, if you're going out taking pictures, you should really, really wear black so you blend in. Nobody really notices you." But some of the best pictures I've had, I've got I call these like my clown dungarees. They're like really bright. They make me look like I'm a children's television presenter. But when I wear those, I get some really good pictures. But I think it's because people look, and that's what you want, isn't it?
Yeah. Well,
People
I think, well, maybe yes and no, because I remember once I was doing street portrait, but trying to get people to act normal, but they stand in pose. It's like it's all set up. But that's just the beauty of it. You never know. The one thing about it, I mean, because you just don't know how people are going to react, and it's how you interact with them to maybe give them assurance that you're just there doing it for your love of doing photography or street photography, and you're just trying to maybe work at like your project, or you're doing for a body of work, or maybe something for maybe an exhibition you've got coming up or something. And I think that makes a difference to engage with people that, and I take it there's been times because, if people will actually say, well, what do you want to take my photo for, or things like that,
I think it depends.
Yeah, I've not had that so much, but like you say, just I think giving yourself a bit of legitimacy, like Gladys, you were saying before about, know your worth, know what you're doing, know why you're there.
Yeah,
I think maybe sometimes just kind of scuttling away is kind of doing yourself a bit of a disservice as well. Like, if someone said, I want to take my picture, not that many people have. Like with that 24-hour project though, I said, well, it's part of a 24-hour project and this is what it's for. And like I said, I've got my little card with my Instagram handle and my email and my phone number, and here you are, this is who I am, and if you want to contact me, which I think also helps. My day job is a researcher, and that's we have to be very transparent about why are you doing this, why are you talking to this person, and making sure that they know that they have power after the interview has finished. Like even if someone does a survey or anything like that, if they then decide, do you know, the stuff that I put in that survey, I don't actually think I want them to have, you can go back to the people, the researcher, the interviewer, the agency, the whoever. There should always be, if you want to get in touch with it afterwards, information. You do have to note it at the time. It's quite hard to find it after the fact, but it's well within your right to say, I don't want you to use that data anymore. And data just means information, and pictures are information. And I think if someone knows that, do you know what? I know you took that picture of me, but I really don't want you to include it in the exhibition. So the work that I did with Jenny, all of the pictures that I've taken that I've put forward for the exhibition, and if I've ever put them into like open calls or anything like that, I've always told her, I've said, I'm going to do this. I'm quite keen, I guess. I don't really ask permission. I don't ask her if it's okay, because then if she says, I'd rather you didn't, I'm like, well, I really want to. Whereas if she said, I'm going to do this, she's been really supportive. But I think generally, if you say to people, this is what I'm going to do, like this is going towards my end of year exhibition. I don't know if this particular will be accepted, but if it is, you'll be on the wall, blah, blah, blah. And it's just that, like you said, that kind of exchange of power that you're not just taking. I mean, it's that kind of American Indian idea, isn't it, about they didn't like being photographed, as the story goes, because you're stealing a bit of their soul. I think there might be something a little bit in that, don't just take from me and then squirrel it away and do whatever it is you want to do with it. If you tell someone why you're doing it or what you're going to do with it, it greases the wheels, should we say?
Yeah.
Personally, I think with street photography, it depends what the genre is with street photography, because if you're doing candy pictures, you don't ask permission, you just take the photo.
I didn't ask permission for this picture.
But what you, and also it depends how you do the photo. Like in some situations, I will make a lot of eye contact, so people know that I'm there. It's not like I'm just hiding somewhere. They know because I'm glaring at them. Do you hear me?
But that in itself is, like you say, that's you're making some kind of connection. You're not just like jumping out of a bush and sticking a camera in their face and then running away.
No. Actually, good luck. And they know that I'm there when I'm taking the picture. I mean, there has been occasions where I've taken a picture of someone sleeping, but and people could say that's a bad thing as well. But the way I look at it,
my teacher would call that a sneaky picture, unless you would speak to them afterwards, or when they woke up, or you knew them.
Yeah, but people could classify as a sneaky picture. But then there's a lot of street photography pictures where they've got people sleeping on the elevators from World War II, So it depends how you view it, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, like with any conversation about consent, there's this guy on Instagram I follow called, I think it's Richard Davison, and he seems to take pictures of celebrities quite a lot. And I don't know if it's like an anniversary of Caroline Ahern's death or anything, but he's got a whole load of pictures of Caroline Ahern, and she was very cheeky like that. There's a great one of her like having a cigarette, literally next to a sign saying no smoking.
Brilliant. Future you want to tell us about? Any other thing ventures or projects that you've got going on?
No, I've got I should have brought it with me. It's in my book over there. I've got my goals/resolutions. So yeah, not going to put any work into open calls unless they're free. I got accepted into, well, I'm having one of my pictures published by Shutterhub, which is nice. The book's due to fall through my door any day now. That was free to enter, but I've bought loads of the books to give away. So I kind of feel that, yeah, I have paid for it in some way. What was the thing? Oh yeah, I've bought an entry to the RA Summer Exhibition. That was
Okay.
another one of my bucket list things, I guess you could say. So now I just got to think about what I'm going to put in. I think the deadline for that's 13th of February. See how far that goes.
What does that mean then? What's all that about?
The Royal Academy Summer Exhibition. That's not free, but it's an open call. Anybody can put in anything. So last year, I do enjoy the summer exhibition because it is, it gives space to anybody really who wants to submit some work, and they've got quite a long judging process and panel. And last year, I came across a lady called Amber Franks. She had a picture up there which I bought. Again, yeah, so you can buy all the art that's up there as well. But yeah, have a look. The Royal Academy Summer Exhibition is £40 to enter. And you can buy as many entries as you like. And then yeah, this could be a thrill to if I manage to get something on the wall. And then yeah, like I was saying, I'm looking into going back to do some formal education, whether that's further education or higher education. And then what was the other thing? Oh yeah, I want to finish though. I have 2 projects that I'm working on. So this one, I want to get this done properly, which might fall into the academic study that hopefully I'll get a place on. And then there's another project that I've been doing, the picture of the window with the dustpan and brush. That was taken at some high-rise blocks that are going to be demolished soon. At the moment, I think, yeah, it's a longer project, and that when the buildings start to come down, I'd like to add to that. And there's another photographer that I went up the towers with, who's expressed an interest in maybe doing a collaboration in terms of an exhibition. I've been kind of gathering a list of all the places that you can exhibit your work, and there's absolutely tons in Glasgow alone. There's hundreds.
Is that that's good then? Yeah.
Yeah, there's lots of coffee shops do it, a lot of shops. If you say, somebody said to me, as long as your work is relevant and the owner agrees, most places will let you put up some pictures. Then you've got places like the Alchemy Experiment, where they have a kind of open call roster, so you submit your work, and then I think it's every 2 weeks they have a new exhibition. Mono Cafe is another place that will let you put up their work. They don't charge, but you have to do everything. So you have to frame it, you have to put it up, you have to take it down, and you have to fill in any holes in the wall afterwards. Give it back how you got it. And then there's this. This time last year, I thought, oh, there's nowhere you can really go. Like, I thought the reason that we were putting work on the windows of the library was because that was pretty much it, and that street level photo works were really, they'd really worked hard to find some space. But it's the same thing with anything. As long as you've got a bit of money, you can put your work up anywhere. But yeah, so to have some kind of, I like the idea of doing a collaboration with Alice there. I think that might be a good thing to do. Yeah, that was an interesting one as well in terms of learning.
In what way?
Well, I was really excited about getting up the tower. So it's empty. Everyone's been moved out to new social housing. It's literally just waiting to come down. It kind of ticks that abandoned box, also the brutalism, or postmodern, not postmodern, mid-century architecture. my nan lived in a high-rise council flat, so just, you know, got quite romantic notions about high rises anyway. So I was determined to get in it. So it's in my local area, and so I contacted the housing association and said, you know, I'd really like to go up and take some pictures before you start pulling it down. So they said yes. I invited 4 other photographers to come with me. Only one, I think, has published their work so far, or at least put it on the internet. But this was a picture that I took. We got into 2 flats. This one looks out across, I say that's from the Gorbals looking north. Somebody who knows could probably tell me what that mountain range is or hill range is in the background there. But I really liked it because this was a view that somebody looked out of every single day. And what a stunning view. I mean, you can see if that is, I don't know.
Is it Campsie Fells, maybe?
Maybe. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff, but yeah. And just having a view. I mean, now the windows are really dirty because they've been empty for so long. And I think it also just shows the amount of pollution that's in the air in Glasgow. I mean, we've got a motorway that runs through the middle of the city. It's just how we're ever going to have clean air in this city when you've got a motorway through the middle of it. But yeah, and you can literally see just the dirt when it rains. So no wonder these windows are now getting really dirty. But I also like that it had somebody left behind the little dustpan and brush. We also got into the laundry room, and what I wanted to document about this building as well is it is also a way of life. I know the idea, these 60s high-rise social housing had high hopes and didn't really deliver, but I don't think we'll ever have them again. And it's what you were saying before about Gladys and yourself, Brian, about just documenting change. People will never live in the sky like this again, I don't think. And the idea of a communal laundromat at the bottom of the building, you know, and they've still got all these big industrial tubs, but someone has even left all their washing behind. I mean, it's not like it wasn't Chernobyl. It wasn't like you need to get out now. You know, they had time to get out, but someone's just thought, oh, sod it, I'll just leave it there. So
new life.
yeah, new life, leave it there. What else? We got into the warden's room, which was interesting as well, just all the stuff that was in there. But yeah, so I like this picture really for the view, and it's back to that, you know, shiny reflective surfaces and symmetry and perspective, and but it also tells a little bit of a story. I mean, you can't see really that it's a kitchen window, but it's you know it's a window that someone's looked out of every day.
Correct. Yeah.
And so my initial idea was maybe a bit premature, as I thought that the people that lived in these buildings would be really interested in these pictures. But as yet, I don't think they are. But I think it's a bit too soon. I think some people were happy to leave them, but obviously for some people, these were their homes and they didn't really want to leave them. It took a long time to actually empty the building. I can see them out my window, and for a long time, there was just one living room light that was on every night. And then one night it wasn't on anymore. I thought, oh, it's finally empty. But when they start to come down, so there's 2 of them. One of them, apparently they are going to blow up, which I think is going to be interesting because it's such a heavily residential area. It's going to be like, I can't imagine. And then the other one, they're going to take apart from the inside, apparently. So that'll be interesting to see over time as well. But I think once they're gone, that's when people will start to be interested in what you can't see anymore. Like, is it what's his name? Chris Leslie is doing a project about Sight Hill coming down, and then I mean there was endless pictures of the time of Red Road flats being blown up. So it's I'm looking for. It sounds wrong. I'm looking forward to it, but just as you were saying before, just I think the difference is going to be really easy to see quite quickly. So it's not like watching documenting a tree growing. They're gonna. What my fear is that I'm gonna, I don't know, go away for the weekend and then it's gonna be done. I missed it.
I'm sure something like that. It's going to be a major. It's going to be in the media and everything with that because they'll have to clear all the area. It'll be a big thing, I would expect. You know, when they'll announce it.
Well, where I live right now is very close to where Hutchie C, which was designed by Basil Spence, used to be. And they blew that up. It was built in the 60s, I think, and they blew it up in 1993. And there are pictures, there's a little video on YouTube that someone took, I think, from the high rises that are left of it being blown up. But it's a bit notorious because apparently they used too much dynamite, and somebody did die from the flying debris. But from the video, it's like 9/11. You can just, it's this big cloud of dust, but you can hear all the car alarms going off, and you think, did they not tell people to clear the area? I don't think they did. And that's why I'm quite curious about what they're going to tell the neighbours here. Like, they're just going to say, shut the windows and don't go out? Or are we going to be expected to actually leave the area? I think it's probably going to be the former. I think it's going to be quite a lot of effort to get everyone to clear out.
Well, we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
But anyway, well, I'm sure everybody who's watched this will thoroughly enjoy it. And if people want to see your work, where's the best place to find you?
Well, at the moment, I'm only really on Instagram. So as you mentioned, my handle is not.flickr, which again, yeah, it's not Flickr. Yeah, so that's probably the best place to find me. But at the moment, I'm kind of treating Instagram a bit like a sketchbook. I wouldn't call it my portfolio. I'm not even sure I've really got a portfolio. But yeah, that's where you can find me.
Okay, well, thank you very much. And Gladys, anything else you want to ask or add?
No, thank you very much for coming on, Alison. It's really appreciate it.
Yeah.
No, it's been fantastic. I mean, I met you guys at the Agitate Christmas Fair, and we had a fantastic chat there. It was really great to meet you. And yeah, I think we've been chatting far longer than you intended. I told you I could talk. Yeah.
I love
it's
been fabulous meeting you, and
absolutely.
And thanks very much for inviting me along.
And any time we're through in Glasgow, I'll give you a shout. Maybe we can have a wee walk around the streets and you can show us how to do it.
I can take you to our one coffee shop.
That'd be fabulous. I like that.
I'd love it. Love it. Okay, well, thanks again, and and hope everybody else has enjoyed this. Okay, thanks. Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.